It's Tuesday, October 17th. We're at the West End Gun Club. It's just before 0600. There's actually 3 other vehicles here on the main line, and I thought I'd be the only one here, but I figured there's a bunch of people who want to shoot early in the morning. But I'm just out here to quickly do some load testing and break in a rifle before I head off to the office. We're still waiting for the sun to come up, so I figure I'll just take some time to just talk a little bit about what happened last week. I was at the FireEye Cyber Defense Summit, and I was in Las Vegas for that. And I usually CCW in Vegas because that is a norm, but in recent events, there have been security issues or heightened security in Vegas, and so certain hotels apparently have been taking extra measures in light of what had happened 2 weeks ago at that concert. And interesting, I was staying at the Bellagio, and when I pulled into the parking structure, they tried to search my trunk of my car, which I was fine with. You know, some people are against that, but I was willing to comply with that. Funny thing is, my trunk is locked, and so I was getting out of the vehicle to open the trunk for the guy, the attendant, and he asked me why I was exiting the vehicle, and I said, hey, my trunk is locked. I need to get out of the car. And he just said, you know what, go ahead and go, and never mind. So, you know what, that's kind of lax. I mean, they're trying to fix security in some regards just to make people feel better, but it's all for naught. From what I understand, the Wynn hotels, that's the Wynn and the Encore, apparently they were running metal detectors on people as they entered the hotel/casino. And so I didn't have time to do anything during that summit. I was really busy with meetings and the conference itself. So I never got a chance to head over to the Wynn or Encore, but it would have been an interesting situation had I tried to go there with my CCW. Anyway, it's interesting to note that this is October and SHOT Show is in about 3 months. Yeah, right about 3 months. So I'm not sure how hotels are going to accommodate people who are going for SHOT Show, because SHOT Show has been going on for many years now, and Vegas has been kind of the destination for that. And so lots of people go to SHOT Show. There's a lot of vendors, a lot of retailers, a lot of distributors. People are showing off firearms, and so the fact that they're going to start regulating people's firearms at hotels, and in some regards the Wynn are going to deny people bringing firearms into hotels, it's going to be a problem. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with SHOT Show. I figure after this year, depending on how much headaches there are, I anticipate SHOT Show might actually move venues. It may go back to Florida. I'm not entirely sure. I know the people that hold SHOT Show, the NSSF, they are not really a fan of Miami as far as the venue, or Florida. I don't know exactly where, but it's in Florida. They're against it because they've said their attendance drops 15% compared to Vegas. So that's a problem for them, but we'll see, how much Vegas affects SHOT Show as far as the security measures they may take at the hotels/casinos. Some hotels know about SHOT Show, and they've always asked people to check their firearms, but the fact that some people like the Wynn are going to say you cannot bring firearms in our hotels altogether, that's going to prove to be a problem for SHOT Show, assuming hotels adopt that same ideology. So we're finally going hot. This is the rifle I was putting together. This is the Mausingfield Action with the Bartley barrel, chambered in 6 Creedmoor, Masterpiece Arms, BA competition chassis, Vortex Optics, Razor HD AMG, 624x50, and a Huber Concepts 2-stage trigger set to 2 pounds, 1+1. And then I got an Aerial 419 Hellfire self-timing muzzle brake. I pretty much have everything on the blog as far as breakdown of the parts, so definitely check out okfj.net for the this parts breakdown. But we're going to go ahead and test and get some baseline loads with the Hornady Match 6mm Creedmoor ammo. This is the 108 grain ELDs, and then I got my hand loads here to also do some testing, because I don't know where to go or where to start from with this gun. So I've got some very conservative loads based on what I've seen online, and then we'll run this as the baseline. So 108s and then the Berger 105 grain hybrid targets. For the record, I did do a bore sighting at home. I took the bolt out, put a little black dot on the wall, and kind of just eyeballed it. And frankly, after I mounted the sight, it was dead on. So I did set up a target at 25 yards just in case, just to make sure that it's going to be okay and I don't have to hunt for it at 100. So this rifle was fired one time just to get a proof load out of it by the gunsmith when I picked it up. So this is the second round fired in the gun with a Hornady 108 grain factory ammo. It is kind of flattened a little bit on the edge, just starting to form, but there's a distinct primer bevel. So it's not very hot, but it could just be the chamber. Right now I just fired 3,007 feet per second. Windage is pretty good, maybe to the right by about 1/10 of a mil. So we're going to take out the 100, should be pretty much on. Very little adjustment. So I just fired about 15 rounds of the Hornady 108 grain. My muzzle brake actually caused the lab radar to kind of twist because that swivel mount's not exactly tight. So I did lose some data on that. It's pushing around 2985 feet per second for this round. I did notice there's some headspace problems here. It's very difficult to close the bolt on this factory ammo in this gun, but my hand loads are fine. I didn't measure the headspace on these cartridges before I shot them. I usually do that just to get some data on factory loads. Technically there is no SAMI spec on 6 Creedmoor, so Hornady might have a slight problem with this ammo. They need to like bump it back a little. I do trust my gunsmith as far as him headspacing this correctly. I may have him take another look at it, but my hand loads chamber just fine, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this factory ammo. I'll measure it when I get home. But I just shot a great group out there with the 105 or 108 ELDs. And then I'm gonna wait for this to cool down a little bit and then I'll shoot my own hand loads. So I got some load data with the Hornady ELD 108s. I'm gonna go ahead and try my hand loads and we'll see how these shoot. Gonna be paying attention to both the velocities as well as group size. Velocity is important because, again, like I said, load data for the 6 Creedmoor isn't really actually official. From what I understand, there technically still is no SAMI spec for this cartridge. So it is a glorified Wildcat at this point. So we'll see what we can work up with this, this rifle. So it looks like the I'm shooting a Hodgdon 4350 in Lapul brass, that's neck down, 6.5 Creedmoor neck down to 6. It's a 105 hybrids from Berger with Wolf SRMs. I'm getting, it looks pretty good. There's no really pressure signs, but I'm already shooting them almost as fast as that Hornady factory ammo with just with a starting load of 40.3 grains. But we're gonna go up to 40.7 for the next 5.
Ready?
5 more rounds. Who's calling for it? 5 more rounds.
Don't worry about it, I'll take care of it.
All right. Thank you.
Good?
Here's a little breakdown of the target. Just me just trying to get on elevation. So this first group here is the Hornady 108 ELDs, another group with 108 ELDs. This is me working up the hand loads, starting with 40.3 grains of 4350, 40.7 grains of 4350, 41 grains, 41.3, and 41.7. Surprisingly enough, the amount of difference in average velocity doesn't go up very much. So it seems like it's diminishing returns when you start trying to go faster, or you might have to go in higher charge weight increments to get an increased velocity. With 6.5 Creedmoor, I've noticed that 0.3 of a grain makes a pretty huge difference with 6.5, but with this light 105 grain, 0.3 of a grain doesn't really make too much of a difference as far as speed, plus or minus. So that's kind of a good thing as far as depending on how your reloading practices are. If you can't reload consistently enough with your scale, that might actually save you the fact that there's not much velocity difference. But the groups here are not too bad. The first few groups, you can see some stringing here. Then once you increase in the charge weights from 41 to 41.3 and the 41.7, the groups begin to stabilize. This one I threw, I know for a fact, but this is a 4-shot group and that's just one. I pulled this one pretty badly. So I'm starting to like this actually, so I'm gonna start in the 41 range and look at 41.3 plus or minus and see if I can go try the 42 and 42.3 to see where the velocities and the pressures are. Pressures are good, but then and so I'm pretty content with this rifle, and I'd like to bring this out on the weekend when the gunsmith is here. He's an RSO. I'm gonna have him try out the gun himself because I let him know that I wanted him to try out this gun after I shot it. So that's the groups right here. So that's pretty much it for the range vlog today. I need to get packed up because it took a lot longer than I expected to be here at the range because it's very busy on Tuesday morning. But this is pretty much the rifle as is. I'm going to do a range report for my next update on the blog regarding the series of articles I'm writing for this project. But just a quick summary again, this is a Mausingfield action. This is a Remington 700 pattern with the Mauser extractor and a Springfield ejector. It's got a Bartley 5R barrel, chambered in 6 Creedmoor, 1 7.5 twist. Got the Hellfire 419, Area 419 Hellfire muzzle brake. Huber Concepts 2-stage trigger. The Harris SBRM with the Arca Swiss Really Right Stuff adapter, which I'm going to write a mini review on. They actually just came out with another adapter for the Harris bipods, which I also bought. So wait for an article on that. I'm going to cover both Arca Swiss clamps to attach to an Arca Swiss dovetail. It's going to be an interesting article that I'm going to write to compare the two. Then the American Rifle Company M10 QDL one-piece mount, along with the Vortex Razor HD AMG, which I really do like, which is why I bought a second one. Overall, right now this rifle is shooting pretty well. Again, I'm going to write up the range report documentation. I'm going to cover this little, I'm going to mention this dead primer that I've got on this cartridge here, and then I'll post the velocity data on my website. Anyway, I got to get packed up and get out of here because I got to switch cars and get to work. But today is October 17th, Tuesday at the Weston Gun Club. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the blog for the range report. I'm in the office parking lot. I'm about to go to lunch, but I wanted to record an addendum to the range vlog, specifically to address the difficulty I had seating some of that Hornady 108 ELD match factory ammo. So when I went home and ditched my gear before I came to the office, I did a quick measurement of the Hornady 108s with the calipers and the comparators, and the headspace checked out fine. So I said, okay, well, there's only one other thing, and that could be the base to ogive measurement. And so I measured the base to ogive on the factory ammo, and it ends up actually exceeding my base to ogive measurement, at least that was checked with the Berger 105 hybrids. So the base to ogive measurement, I have a baseline measurement for that with the Berger 105s seated to the lands. And when I compared that to the measurement of the base to ogive on the factory 108s, the Hornady ELDs, it was a good 15 thousandths over that. So that means I was actually seating them or jamming them into the lands when I was shooting them today, or earlier this morning. That sounds kind of bad. It is sort of bad. It's not great. It's not ideal, but jamming into the lands could lead to high pressure situations. I didn't see that this morning. I didn't see any spikes in the velocity, and I didn't see any flattened primers or any weird situations with the fired rounds. And when I was shooting service rifle, I actually was shooting my 80 grain VLDs in the 223 wild chamber. I was seating those 10 thousandths into the lands. Granted, I did adjust my neck tension using a bushing die. So I was soft seating them when I was chambering those in the gun. With factory ammo, the brass neck tension is probably pretty high, so I don't have that leeway, especially with the bolt rifle. So it's not really ideal. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye on that with this gun. When I got my gun chambered, I asked the gunsmith what he was using to cut it and what kind of reamer he was using, because I wanted to make sure that I was going to get a cut or a chamber cut that was ideal for Berger 105 hybrids, which is what I want to shoot. So the 108 ELDs are more of a VLD style bullet, whereas the hybrid targets are more of a hybrid. They're not really VLDs, but they're not real traditional OTMs. So that's why that base to ogive measurement isn't going to be the same. When I seated the rounds for the Berger 105s, the overall length was about 2.800, maybe 2.810. Now I measured the COL for the Hornady 108s, and the overall length was actually under 2.8. It was like 2.790. Which makes a little sense, considering in order to keep it in a safe distance for most chambers in the base to ogive, you need to get it down pretty low, but and the cartridge overall length will be under 2.8 eventually. So it's going to be a weird scenario. Again, this is 6 Creedmoor, and it's not really there's no real standard per se. So there's going to be a lot of experimentation here to find the ideal factory standard here. So I'm just going to have to be wary of shooting the 108's factory ammo. I may decide to take the rest of that and just seed it deeper with a seeding die. So I might do it after the fact, just get a seeding die, run it down maybe another 10 thousandths, maybe even 20 thousandths, just to make sure that they're not jamming into the lands with the factory ammo. Anyway, that's the addendum for the vlog. I wanted to get this on there just so there's no mystery on why that factory ammo was having a little bit of difficulty seating in or chambering in my bolt rifle. Anyway, thanks again. See you at the next vlog.